Hey guys, it's Vishal back with another video. Today we have another PC build. The budget for this PC is 70,000 rupees. We're gonna be using the Intel i7 8700 with the GTX 1060 and 8 gigs of RAM. Before we get into the video, if you like the content I'm making, make sure to drop a like and get subscribed, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. This is not an in-depth guide, rather a quick PC build with a few steps explained briefly. You can check out my friend TECHARIE's channel for more insight. Links down below. Okay, let's start. First, let's check out all the parts which I'm gonna use in this video. The Intel Kaby Lake i7 8700, for the motherboard MSI B360M. The RAM is gonna be 8 gigs of G-Skill Ripjaws. For the graphics card, the GTX 1060, and SMPS is gonna be Corsair 550 watts. The case is the Cooler Master Masterbox Lite 5. Finally, we have storage, 1 TB of Seagate Barracuda and 128 gigs of SanDisk SSD. With that done, unbox your motherboard. The components are brittle, so handle with care. It's a micro ATX motherboard, so it can fit into small cases and save space. Next, unbox the CPU. We have the beast from Intel, that is the i7 8700. This is a non-K version and it comes with a cooler. We aren't gonna overclock this anyway, so the cooler is sufficient. Now, before placing your CPU onto the motherboard, match the bottom triangle of your CPU to the bottom triangle of your motherboard and place it gently without any pressure. Finally, latch it into place. We now have to install the stock cooler. This is kind of disappointing because the cooler is very poorly made and cannot be overclocked. But for now, it gets the job done. And it also has thermal paste pre-applied and is really simple to install. Now it's time to hook the RAM. 8 gigs of RAM is enough for now. You can always upgrade later because recently RAM prices have skyrocketed. Now to fix the RAM, place it onto the slot and apply pressure on both sides until it latches into place. Next, once all this is done, it's time to install your motherboard into the case. The cabinet used here is from Cooler Master, called the Masterbox Lite. It is a compact case with a plastic see-through window to view your components. Okay, now install the motherboard and screw it into place. Once all this is done, install the SMPS with all its cables and make all the connections, like supplying power to the CPU and motherboard. This process is pretty tough, so make sure to use a manual which comes with the motherboard. Finally, this is the best part of the PC build, installing the graphics card. We're going to use the GTX 1060 from MSI, which can breeze through 1080p gaming at 60 frames per second. So to install it, align it with the PCIe slot and fix it. Pretty simple step, and connect the cables from the PSU to provide power. Next, we move on to the storage devices. I'm using a 1 TB hard disk from Seagate and 128 GB SSD from SanDisk. The case has specific slots to store these devices, so screw them in place and connect the SATA cable from the motherboard. So it's done. Now finally, make some cable managements and then put back the panel and pray to God that your PC boots up in the first try. But in our case, we had to troubleshoot and then get it to work. So with that, we have reached the end of the video. Make sure to drop a like and check out more content from my channel. And once again, I would like to give a shout out to my friend TECHARIE for making this build possible. With that said, see you soon. This is Half-Life.